Hello. How's everything looking? It's all over here. So, oh, Kathleen might have put something over there.
I think it's come along really well.
Good.
So, it's less, you and I were talking about that bank. Yeah, it turned out really good. He's got a good eye.
The packet. They're all 3 different sheets. Take the whole packet.
Get one of these.
One thing Frank's awesome at. Getting close.
Doesn't cost you.
That's what he says.
You know what it is.
Chris, did you get your first crop you made?
I got my first crop hay put up. I cut my oats and peas, finished cut up my oats and peas today.
Were they pretty good?
Oh yeah, I mean they're.
It's gonna be hard to get dry.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna wrap them up. Have Rick Manning wrap them up. But,
Sure.
yeah, that was. But I'd like to get them dry down so I can. I have an older John Deere round baler, but and I'll shrink down the size of the baler, but still, you can't. It's not like a Silas special that it's able to handle, 2,200, 2,300 pound bales.
Exactly.
So
I grab.
the heck. Oh, I see what I screwed up on.
I got 3 of the same.
So did I. I did the same thing.
You must not have heard me say take the packet.
Yeah, I heard you say the packet. Oh, so they were all 3.
Yeah,
I see. I thought they were, you did the same thing I did.
Yep.
I thought they were 1, 2, 3. So. Right, so this is screwed up. Hold on. 360.
Okay, that's it.
That's here's a packet.
Okay, I already got a pack. I got everything but a 2943. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Now I can go for the final trivia question. All right, Frank,
I'm good, how are you?
not too bad.
Okay. That's Frank and I were talking yesterday, we were talking about the side in that bank. I talked to Randy Olson, he said they're done on that bank.
They are today, there wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
I called him this
I
morning.
had to call Kenny Anderson because he was gonna feather the,
Oh, that little
Thank-
jump?
and then kind of mulch that dirt up.
Sure.
So he sent his son down, Logan,
Okay.
and they did that today. So I think we're gonna drag it, then maybe take a screen and go over it.
Sure.
And then sort of grass seed. We just gotta figure out if we can do that without it washing out because of the slope. If we had some straw or something, or that would probably be the best bet, wouldn't
That
it?
would be the best bet.
Pardon?
That would be the best bet.
Yeah.
The only other thing would be is,
I thought I saw in Walsh's that they had that map.
I looked at that on Menards, Brooke went and sent it to me. 100 square feet for 30
You can
bucks.
sit there if you want to, Kathleen.
100 square
I just
feet,
have
so,
to-
yeah.
okay.
Just want to get a camera.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
so
I'll back up.
it's not a very big area, so it would cost, yeah, the man. And then to water it, we have to,
Yeah, a couple big things.
yeah, if we had rain, yeah. So, but we can see, we got that, it's called Wisconsin mix.
Sure.
And it's got a lot of rye in it
Sure.
to start, and then that would hold everything until the other grass took the fat, so. And down there, we would put the heavy traffic grass seed down there. Did that today.
Yeah, that's what a little mixed in, just to have some rye in there.
And,
What's the rye? And any others? How those go.
and we've been watering it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and once on the weekend. I think we're gonna hit it every night.
It'll come.
Because the days are so quiet. Right now, it's harder to
Yeah,
go.
it just.
Yeah,
We've
each
got-
section had an hour water on it.
We've got
I grabbed one
moisture
of those
pro
already.
and on our winter
Yeah,
station, the Archer.
Don't
You
want
can
to
just
overdo
watch
my
it.
matching.
So you get a rain and it'll go right down and
So
next
where?
day heat. Right.
Well, you know, that top bakes, so.
Yeah.
It is 6:30. We ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, I will call the July 1st Building and Grounds Committee meeting to order. Item 2, verification of meeting notice. Item 3, approve the agenda.
Make that motion.
I will second. Any discussion? Updates? All in favor signify by approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Item 4, continued business. Item 4.1, the sound system update. The sound system is in the gym. I'm just following up with what we have left in our fund balance for that. We're going to be receiving a check back from Full Compass for the one component was not needed. So the system sounds very well. Thank you for everyone's assistance on that. And look,
Signs have you got?
I just sent a text. I haven't gotten from Lima Jag their logo yet, but I sent over to Greeley's the logos for Jones's and for Stafford's Funeral Home. Alan, I told him get going on them. That's what I could tell you. Not a lot of correspondence back and forth, but that's the. And then Steve Davis is putting together the quote or finalizing his invoicing for the installation. So it's in, it sounds great. So thanks for everybody's assistance on that. Item 4.2, update on addition to the parking lot.
It's in. Might want to say publicly what you guys said before the meeting started, but grass is on there?
No.
Not on there.
No, not over there. He just broke up all the really heavy stuff
Okay,
today. And we've got the grass seed, so we'll put that down once he gets done doing his thing over there, and we'll try to get us watered on it, so.
See if I can round up some straw.
Yeah, I think that would really work the best. And we can run hoses, you know, if it's gonna be really dry, we can run hoses and water it every other day or so. And
I think they've got one strip width yet to do, the bottom. They were,
Okay.
looks like I was just over there, they've been putting it in sections and rolling. It looks like they probably got the last, I don't know, maybe 18, 20 feet left to do. So Rest looks really good though.
Any other comments, questions on that? Item 4.3, adding tech, that's in technology. 4.3.1, library permanent projector and automatic screen.
Still waiting for something on that to get a price.
Okay, we'll put that on.
As you're putting it like right here, right?
Mhm.
Someplace. Has he looked, we have them in some other rooms, right?
Mhm.
Has he looked to make sure that where we want to put it, everything's okay there to hang and everything?
He's going to make sure that the Tierney brothers, who would be the ones who would purchase it from most likely, but they're the ones that would definitely hang it. They're going to give us the best place to hang it. So if it's 10 feet in the middle or 5 feet, so that we can, and then the screen thing too, so to make sure that we get it lined up. So.
Good. Any other discussion on that? Now moving on, item 4.3.2, handheld touch computers for lower grades.
We haven't gotten them. He's ordered a couple to look at and they haven't
Okay.
come yet. So
Okay.
we wanted to check them out and
Yeah.
touch them and, all that kind of stuff.
Those are the bases.
Well, and the problem is that every school district and every parent all ordered handheld devices for their kids in the last 3 months. So they're behind, back ordered, you name it.
Because we
So
were looking at the, what was it, Google?
Yeah.
And what were we looking at?
Samsung.
Samsung, and then the.
Yeah.
There were
One
two.
from Google itself, right? They
Yep.
had one. And one was, the Samsung was like half the price, right?
Right.
Yep.
So he's getting some of both.
That's my understanding.
Yep.
Anything else on that? Item 4.3.3, migrate Destiny cloud-based server from Follett.
Pilot. Yep. Destiny is our system for the library. Get all the things on there. So that is a technology thing, but it's an upfront cost of $22.68 for the first year, and then $17.45, and then after that, or I'm sorry, $11.70.45, and then after that we pay $11.70.45. It's online. It just needs to be done. Ours, they don't support the non-online version anymore, so it's just going to be an ongoing cost. You guys needed to know about it.
Okay. Will this be brought to the full board?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
The other thing that we were talking about is that we'll have, so we had a big discussion, I'm pretty sure it was in here, versus RFIDs versus QRs.
Yep.
So I really wanted to go to the RFIDs, but it looks like the best bet, because when we get our pictures taken, Jostens is taking the pictures this year, and they're gonna print the scanner on all the kids will have a card, and anybody who gets their picture taken should have a card. And then they'll be able to use that on the new computer and in the lunch line. So no touch. It's just their card, they scan it, they're done. So it'll flow faster both here and in the lunch line. We've never needed anything but just scannable codes for the kids anyway. And if we want to start using them indoors or whatever, then we can upgrade the teachers, but they're like 10 cents a card. So the cost is really minimal at this point, but we really want to get the touchless part done.
And the readers we have will.
We're buying new readers. We're going to buy 2 readers I'm pretty sure 2 readers here and 2 readers and then we'll have to have 2 computers set up in the lunch line too. This will have its own computer, but minimal cost, like $200 to $300 for the whole shebang.
So they're QR, like 3D code, they're not
They're
QR.
barcode.
Just
They're
a
barcodes.
So 1D or 2D. They're not. It's
Yeah, well, I'm
simpler.
thinking they're 2D. They're they're
Yeah.
simpler than the RFIDs, less expensive,
Yeah.
and we're also looking at getting bids and quotes for printing our own, so that we could give all of our, hello, Mr. Manning, there's a whole pile of stuff here you have to pick up.
One of
That's
each,
several
please.
piles.
Yeah, several piles. Kathleen, spread them out. Yeah.
I did not.
We also were able to order and have gotten all the update instructions for, again, sorry, thinking cards, for a visitor called Raptor. Richland Center has, lots of the districts have it. And it's a scanning system for driver's license, that when you have a visitor come in, they scan their driver's license. It does we've talked about that too. we got that through the safety grant, so I wasn't worried about the price because it'll just pay for it. And it was only like, well, I think we're gonna get the whole thing, so it's like $3,200, something like that. But anyway, that's all supposed to work together. The kids should be able to take their ID with the Raptor thing also and log in and say I was late because, or I'm leaving to go to an appointment, school in Richland Center. So it's all supposed to work together. I managed to get that all under the Follett discussion.
And if it doesn't, Skyward has a scanning device also that schools use where kids scan when they come for attendance, like so in the office when they come in late or leave early to have better record of that. But I think that Raptor will work.
Anything else on that? Here now we'll move on to item 5, new business 5.1, discussion on concrete work. Let's look over the quotes.
So at this point, Frank's done a lot of work getting quotes and you guys have them all. Frank, I'm gonna let you explain. So help them with the first one they should have out first. So
If you're looking at the $24,413 one, it would be the 1,440 square feet of sidewalk out here in front of the building. The first number, 19,773, that's to replace all the areas that need to be replaced. And then taking care of down here by the Wisconsin flagpole, that's gonna take care of that dip we have, and they're gonna run something underneath the concrete like we do
Okay.
up by the 3-5 entranceway, so the water will run away from it, so we don't have ice there. And they're gonna build that up. We'll probably have to take that flower box out, and the cement sidewalk will be wider to match everything else, and then it will just flow right into the big area we have by the 3-5 entrance. The second number you see, if we do all the sidewalks, so for another $5,000 or 4,600, whatever it is, we would have new sidewalk throughout the whole area. Now, as long as we're on this page, I did get a hold of Jeff Falk, because he's done work for us, plus a patio. And his son's gonna
They're
come out
scratched,
tomorrow.
but they might.
Jeff came out, looked at it, and he suggested just cut the sections out and replace them. And again, that's good. It's not gonna be very appealing to the front entrance of the school, but that's, whatever you want to do. It's gonna definitely be less expensive. And then he talked about doing that area over there. His son's coming out tomorrow at noon, and he's gonna try to look at it and give us a quote on that. So then if you look at the second page, well, my second page anyway, the 360 square foot of concrete picnic table, and that's right out here by the parking lot. He could do that for $2,610, and Larry had a pretty good idea. If we ever did pave that, do away with the concrete, just pave that right up to it, it would be a lot cheaper. But it all depends what you want. And another guy said, why don't you just sow grass seed to it and make it grass? But that's kind of where they push the snow, so that grass would be ate up anyway. And then the last page, I had to give me a bed because the entranceway into the gym from the north side, it's ate up pretty bad. So it really should be taken care of, but that's $29.43 to do that.
Did you get another concrete one yet? No, not yet.
No, like I said, Falk will be out here tomorrow. It's very hard to get anybody to come this time of year because this is what they do. So, but he'll come tomorrow and hopefully get a bid for us in the next week or two.
Okay. When we get those, we'll probably push that back to the next building and grounds and then evaluate them.
Okay.
Compare apples to apples if we can.
Like to see what we're talking about anyway.
Yeah. Walk around afterwards.
So does that take care of 5.11, 1.2, and 1.3? Water runoff under the sidewalk and repair broken blocks, so. The tree is where we're talking about on the north end of the gym.
Yep.
Yep, did that the other day. Okay, item 5.2, the asphalt, the patching bus lane and new parking lot.
Okay, that was kind of a tricky one. I had Wisco come out here from Little Rock. I had Farners come out. And then it's called Patriot Paving now, which used to be B&D for Richard Center. And I talked to Randy Olson about it because the guy from Farner came out and looked at it. And he said that to fill all the cracks from up here by the dumpsters all the way down to the bottom parking lot, he said, I wouldn't recommend it because he said it's $1.28 foot to fill cracks. And he said, you've got at least 50,000 feet. So he said, I'll give you that on sealing it and so forth, which he did. You'll see that from Farners. Wisco came out and he didn't even want to give us a bid because he doesn't recommend doing it. And then the guy from Gasser came out because I wanted him to give us a bid on if we had to do the whole thing, you know, blacktop it. And he said the same thing. He said, I definitely wouldn't seal coat it because it's not worth it. I talked to Randy Olson, and Randy Olson said, you don't have any base there. He said, it'd be foolish to do it. You're just throwing your money away. He said, you're better off. He said, just ride it out as long as you can. Try to fill the holes, you know, to get you by. And then he said, you'll probably just have to redo the whole thing. And it was done 26 years ago when the 94 edition was on. Because the guy from Gasser that came out here, he said he remember doing that. Mm-hmm. And I said, how long does this usually last? He goes, if you get 20 years out of it, you're doing good. So
they'd have to grind it and.
What's that, Randy?
They'd have to grind it if we were gonna redo it, grind it.
Down below, he said he would pulverize that, and that would be cheaper. But once you get up by the bus barn, he said they couldn't do that because it's too much of a slope. It would wash out.
Just pull it up and take it.
Yep. So that they wouldn't be able to do. But yes, he did mention pulverizing that down below and reusing it. And he said, because I asked about doing sections. He said section is good, but he says, you're gonna end up paying a hell of a lot more, excuse my language. You're gonna be paying a lot more because he said, it costs us a lot of money to send all the equipment out. He said, we're better off doing it at one time and then instead of doing it 2 or 3 times because it might cost us $20,000 just for them to get the equipment out here. And that's gonna be a very expensive project, so. So that's the seal coating part of it. I did get a bid on the bus lane all the way from the entranceway, all the way around to the section that widens out in the new site over here. That was from Wisco. You can see what that one is. It's 18,226. And then the bottom one is if they seal coat the rest of the way from there all the way around to the parking lot. Because he said that should be seal coated because he said otherwise it's gonna start damaging and so forth. Especially a bus, he said it's gotta be so like 3 inches or whatever, you know, for buses. And, you know, I went and mentioned, you know, well, it was good enough for the fire lane. He goes, yeah, but the fire lane, he said, how often do you go on it? I said, oh, good point. You know, with buses, we're gonna be on there at least twice a day. So.
4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, maybe.
And Gassers are going to give us a bid on that separately and on the new parking lots and on there all separate.
Okay.
So we'll get those. Now, that being said, Randy Olson also said Farner and, Wisco and Gasser said that if we do the parking lot, we could do it this fall. Because we're not putting anything in, we took everything out, so we're not putting fill in. So he said that's gonna be a solid base. He said, doing it this fall, if we decide to do it, he said would not be a problem. So.
But we don't have quotes on those yet.
Yeah, the quotes are coming on that for.
Yeah, Gasser said it's gonna take them a while to get the quote.
Sure.
And then, like I said, Wisco went and gave us a quote on that, on the bus lane.
Bus lane.
And he didn't want to give us a quote on the parking lot over here until we got done. And then he said he would come back and give us a quote on that. And then Patriot Paving. He didn't give us a quote on that, and that's kind of another story I can fill you in later on that one. if you want.
Okay, so we'll bring this back once we get our quotes, whatever that may be. That way we can compare. Good. That's good detail.
It's nice to know the numbers
Yeah.
so that you can figure it all out.
I just got to get input from them on seal coating, whether that's, get the experts or the people that have more knowledge on it,
Mhm.
what their thoughts are. And if we get a consistent answer like that, that's a good indicator. Ready, I'll move along if there's no other questions or comments. Item 5.3, the amphitheater.
So as requested, Mike Monty did up a costing of it and did some models of what it would look like. So a total for just the amphitheater is $23.56, plus the labor of $800 for Mike's work. We had talked about getting certified playmat, which is looks like mulch, but it's not because we can't use regular mulch. We have to use this other stuff that comes from Stanley Boyd, Wisconsin. So a semi-load is $22.70. We'd use a portion of it for the amphitheater, and the remaining would freshen the current playground and up above. I do include this in my elementary budget. So the part not included in a budget is at $31.56. And he did talk, Mike said he talked to Kenny Anderson today about runoff, and because it's above the ditch, it will be fine.
It'll be on that side of the ditch.
Yep,
Yeah.
so like straight out from the sidewalk up in that,
So you go up the sidewalk,
it'll be a
keep
little bit.
going, and then there'll
little
be
bit.
amphitheater, ditch,
Right.
sidewalk,
Right,
volleyball court,
right.
concrete.
I'm here too if there's any questions. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Thanks, Mike.
I'm in the computer.
How'd you get in there?
Mike, what size holes and how deep do you have to dig?
To get the shade sails up high enough, the biggest ones I have is 16-foot ones from Menards or Do It Best or whatever. The volleyball court ones, those ones I buried about 6 feet. So I'd probably do the same that way. The shade sails would be at 10 foot, and most of the kids aren't gonna be able to reach those. So if we wanted to go higher, we'd probably have to get something special order as far as posts, but that's all I could find as far as depth. So, and as far as location, there's no like set in stone place. I just figured go above the drainage ditch. I know Mr. Favreau has planted some trees up there. I didn't want to step on his toes if he had thoughts on doing something up there. So I just wanted to, have it be up on that hillside. That way it's easy access for the high school. They can use it. And then, but I didn't want to, if he had plans for something up there too, we can certainly adjust where we have it.
There is one dead tree up there that we
Yeah.
can take out.
Yeah. I talked, oops, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I talked to Randy Olson a couple days ago about getting the stones. He said there was a bunch at the quarry, and he said somebody took some, so he'd have to check to see what is available as far as a timeline. It's pretty much going to rely on that because that's most of the material is the stones.
So you have in your budget, Kathleen, the 2270 for the semi-load.
So what the plan is to use, there's a pile of old shavings. That would be the base, and then we'd cover it with some of this new and then replenish. We're trying to, grass doesn't grow very well where kids tromp it all the time. So we're slowly kind of filling that space in, and it's cheaper, quite a bit cheaper to buy it by the
Oh,
semi-load.
sure.
And so what was left over from last year?
No,
Year before.
Year before?
No, that was dug up.
The stuff that's up in the pile, up by the swings, that stuff was stuff we dug out from up by the swings.
right, that's
So that's
old
been
stuff.
sitting up there for 2-3 years.
So when we normally get a load,
Yep.
do we normally have
We've,
left over or it's gone?
we've only done it once since I've been here, and they dump it on the playground and then it's dispersed. We used it all.
Sure.
Because and then as you can see, it's already, grass is coming through it.
So then going forward, we'd have to get a little more for out.
We
here.
could, or we
Do
just,
rotation.
Yeah.
we'd fill in a little bit, and then the next year, we might have to increase it, but I think we can make a semi-load a year, make it look nice and add cushion.
So in the respects to the $3,156.79, where's that anticipated to come from?
I don't know. This year, the year we just ended, possibly, I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't budget for it.
Right.
We do feel that it would be another space since we can't have certain classes inside, so maybe band would use it. Choir, it would be a good way to get the kids outside and spaced apart, at least for the beginning of the school
Sure.
year. I would support us by paying for it, but
It was not budgeted.
it was not budgeted.
That's fine. I was curious on
This-
that. I know we did. Go ahead, Ms. Mon.
This was something the playground committee had looked at doing, but we just didn't have, after we put in the patio and the volleyball court last year, we just tapped out at this point. So this was something that was thinking for a couple of years down the road, but we saw a need for it now potentially. So Kathleen asked if she could add it on to this conversation.
Yeah, and this was in your guys's, initially, when we talked about this whole thing years ago, this was in part of that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, we just didn't have as
We
detailed
just-
drawings. We just had, we
Correct.
kind of had the idea and what
Yep.
it was. It was always
It was always there.
a plan.
Right.
It was just
Yes,
phases.
correct.
And we have discussed this in other meetings about the need for this fall, possibly utilizing this as a teaching space,
Yeah,
aside from just being aside from a playground.
yeah. Well, and the patio also, we could potentially use too, if we get some shade out there.
I have that added on to 5.8 to discuss a little bit. Mike and I talked about that.
Okay,
Today.
all righty. Any other questions, comments?
Head to the full board then.
Yeah, I think bring it to the full board.
Okay.
Anything else on the amphitheater? If not, we'll move on to 5.4, the softball field, Mrs. Boland.
Since no one's on the field right now, we just happen to be looking at the field and we just saw some areas that, since no one's gonna be on it, this might be the ideal time to fix up some things. Not that the field's horrible by any means, but if we can improve some areas and maybe get some clay blocks around the batter's boxes and the pitching mound so it doesn't wash out. And get some drain tile put in there because it gets pretty mushy when it rained really hard, and that we came up there just to see where it was draining and how it went. And right behind third base, there was like a small little lake there, and then third base was really mushy in that too. Just see if we can fix it up. And then the outfield, left field is a little high, then there's a dip in left field, and then right field is considerably lower. And so the pitch, every field has to have a slight pitch to it, but not a big gradual one like that too. So we're just wondering about fixing it up. And I did get some prices for different things, and I didn't get it on the pile, so I don't know if you guys want to look at some of this stuff. Just the different things that we were talking about, and I sent it to you already.
Yep.
Thank you.
So like the first one for the drain tile, and that'll be $156, and it's like for 200 feet, so that will come off first baseline. And then third baseline going towards home, and it'll be running off out of the field area on that, so it'll just help with drainage. And then the grass, to get a sod cutter, so we'll take off all the grass in the outfield, kind of level it all off so there's not such a huge difference between left field and right field, and reseed it with really nice grass seed in that. and that's like $440 to redo the outfield. Then the clay bricks around the pitcher's mound and batter's box, I did actually get a quote, and which they'll ship it right to the school, so that's why I have that, the one circle, that was our first quote, but the actual quote that came in with the shipping right to the school is $934. And then the upkeep, I don't know if, like, we might have some of this stuff already, but I just put it in here, so that $435, like the screening is just another load to put on the field, because when we dug holes by first base, there's only 5 inches of screening on the field, and over by second and third base, there's like almost 12 inches. So there's a big difference, even in the infield, and that how much screening is around, and it's really low by home plate too. So we can kind of just fix up the infield, but we might not need all that stuff. I don't know if the school has an edger, so if we do put in that new outfield with the grass and that, just to keep a nice edge around it. I don't know if the school has an edger or not, so we might not need to have some of that stuff to buy, but it's just on there just in case. So our total price, I wrote it down on the bottom with the new thing, is $1,965 to redo the whole field. And use what's there, but just redo some of it too. Then we'll have all that sod, so I don't know if anyone needs sod, because when we take off of that sod, I don't know if we put a thing out to the public or whatever. If they wanted to have sod, they can come pick it up to get rid of it, or if the school needs it anywhere. Frank said we don't, because everything's going pretty good, but we want to just put a thing out that if anyone wants sod for their thing, they can have the whole outfield if they want to come pick it up.
Cost for the drain tile to install.
We have all volunteers. I talked to the youth group, our booster club. I talked to a lot of people already, and that we have all volunteers that will do all this work. So there's no maintenance or no added cost to there. It's just all to get the supplies in. And the youth said they'll look into helping us, and our booster will, but we just wondering if the school can put some in too in that, or if not, and just go from there. And that's because, like I said, no one's on the field. This will be it's an ideal time because no one's on it, but it's not an ideal time because we had no money coming in with the concessions and everything else, but potatoes. So that's what our thoughts are.
Well, no matter who does it, it still has to be approved, so, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the total was $1,960, Paula?
65.
65. I couldn't remember, and I
65.74.
can't pull up the spreadsheet. It's in, I have it someplace. I know I have it someplace.
Well, I got the actual quote, so I changed.
Oh, okay, thanks.
There's some screening down there, but, it'd be nice, but we'd be able to find a better place for it because they put it right by the bus barn.
Yeah.
And it just washes away. And we do have some dirt. If she needs some dirt, we do have some. What it should be,
Thoughts? I don't know what's from a budgeting standpoint or what.
Well, the screenings would be just basic maintenance that we do every year. We didn't do it this year because we didn't play on it. And there's normally a load of screens goes on the baseball and on the softball. You know, every year, beginning of the season, just normal.
440 for grass is not a big deal.
I did put the screening in my softball budget for the school, but I don't know if we needed that too I have that, some of the field stuff in there since I don't need equipment this year. I put some of the maintenance out there in my softball budget this year too.
Okay.
You know, where'd you get the quote for the clay bricks?
Beacon.
Beacon in Middleton.
Yep.
Would you like me to add this to the board agenda also?
Yeah, why don't we do that and have a discussion? It would be nice to have an understanding of what, also, if the booster clubs are able to assist, what is the true ask of the board? I mean, we will, it sounds like the screens will be covered, but we'll do a number on that. That's,
They said whatever. They didn't have a set price. So whatever you guys decide on, if you want to pay for all of it, feel free.
okay.
If you want to pay for it.
Nope.
Put that out there. That one's off the table.
It's worth a shot, though.
But So we just said, if you guys can contribute anything, so we know where we stand and what we have to go and what the youth group will contribute and everything else, so.
On the side for the outfield, could you just fill in with dirt over where the dips in instead of scraping all that grass out of there? Could you put dirt in and roll it and then reseed that instead of having to reseed the whole entire field? You know, if there's a high spot, a low spot, fill in the low spot.
Well, we were gonna get the, I think it was Kentucky bluegrass. I don't know, my son who does all the college
Mhm.
thing, it was like top of the grade, top of the line field seed and that, so he said, well, if they didn't wanna do that, you're still gonna have the other grass coming through, so if we just took all that off and just started new with all the new grass seed and that, it will be like a lot better, and then they don't have to, I mean, we can absolutely keep the field as it is and just fix the low spots and everything else. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but like I said, this is the ideal time to do it when no one's gonna be on it at all from August till the school year. And with this draining thing and everything else, that will help us with like not canceling games because our field's not ready to go and everything else. So this is only gonna help us like not rescheduling and always be ready to play. And then we put in for more sectional games because our field will be one of the better ones in the everything else. So it'll only bring money into our school eventually too, so.
Agenda. As for equipment that we have, I have no idea if Frank knows of what we have. I'm not aware we have an edger. Do we?
I know.
Yeah.
We have a roller, but that's basically about the,
Okay.
and if she shows grass seed, we've got a spreader. We just got that this year, we use it quite a bit, so.
We have quite a few nice volunteer.
Yeah.
that
Yeah, we have
owns their
volunteers
equipment.
around. Yep. Take advantage of what you have out there. So, okay, we'll have it on the agenda. Yeah. Take under advisement. Board at the full board meeting. Anything else for Ms. Boland? Now we'll move on to item 5.5, football field. Coach Clary.
Could I ask a favor and see if you could play the May 11th board meetings? You can go to 1 hour and 18 minutes.
Oh,
I wasn't able to listen to it. I've only been told about it.
May 11th. Okay, let me go with the school district. Explore. Video links. June, restart. June 8th, no, May. June 8th, June 3rd. May 11 board meeting link. And you want me to go to
Call to order, verification.
Yeah, 1 hour and 18 minutes.
1 hour and 18 minutes.
It's the bus test, they always tell me. Somebody gets hit by the bus. Okay. Okay, if not, 10:07, a discussion possible action on football field, baseball field. So what this is everybody knows when they redid the football field years ago, they've got that big ditch that runs up through the middle of the baseball field now to drain it. And we've talked about potentially filling that in sometime to make it less intrusive on the baseball field, but still work on the football field. Well, Olson's want to start this parking lot project up here, and we've got to do something with that dirt. So it's a perfect time just to take the dirt from there and put it down there where we need it. Coach Clary has shot all the grades, so he knows where it has to be, so that way we don't create a problem and we have ponding water for the football or the baseball field. And then there's 6 sprinkler heads that would need to be, brought back up, because it's 20 or 24 inches is how deep that dip is in the middle of the baseball field. So to bring that up, it comes to about the 15-yard line on the football field is, where the center field goes through. So they would fill that in, taper that down, so then that way when football runs, they don't run into a hump.
Right.
And it properly drains, because, neither of them want water sitting on the baseball or the football field. So they would do all that, put that all in. Randy Olson has talked to the company that does, and Frank, to raise those things up. And so any costs that would incur, the baseball club is willing to do that to raise those up, and there would be minimal costs.
Yeah.
Because the big costs were gonna be, was the dirt, because Coach Clary had calculated how much dirt they needed to bring in. Well, we've got to get rid of this dirt and put it there. And so they'll do all the work and do everything. We're just gonna knock a hole in the fence. They can go out on the field. And one bright spot is we don't, the worry before was with all the kids on the field in the summer, and then football starting in August, how do you get that down? Well, they're potentially gonna start this project in a week, so we could get it on there, get the dirt on there, get it seeded, get it, get straw put down so it'll grow, and then the sprinklers, we can just, and it'll be done.
Mark?
So,
Okay.
um,
Yeah, we're never gonna get a better chance.
but it will make, because the way the field is now, I mean, I've never seen a baseball field with a trench in the middle of it, and we will not get, other coaches vote not to give us home field advantage because they don't want to play and run through that dip. So, and there's actually, if you go out there, the outfield in the baseball field in general is extremely rough from the projects we've had and the dirt coming down off the hill and that. So it'd be a time to get it, kill two birds with one stone. Any discussion questions? I would assume there might be a little pushback from some of the football people on it. But I guess it was, and somebody mentioned too that it's the way it is now, it's probably not handicap accessible going around on that side the way it is now. But the intentions are to not, we're not just going to take that dirt, dump it, and then have a hump in the football field and not have it drain. It's still well drained. It's just going to be less of a dip on the football field on the baseball. So again, the two commingled fields will be workable for both.
It was a cow pasture years ago, it was already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
5 more years anyway, because it'll sell.
Yeah.
Is that it?
You need a motion on this?
We just wanted to make sure the whole board was aware of what's going on.
Everybody good? Anybody want a motion? We're good? Okay. All right. 10-8 then.
All right, so back when they did the football field, Neil Anderson was the athletic director at the time, and he had several meetings to discuss how to go about doing the field. And then he went out and got $60,000 of money from businesses and people. And then for Randy Olson to excavate it and do all his work, he took 100 dump truck loads of dirt. So I don't know how much a dump truck load of dirt is, but that's probably quite a bit of money, but well worth it because of the service of doing the field and all those people that came and helped put the water lines in, and the cedar was nonstop for one whole night, just driving back and forth, putting the straw down to make it work. I know all those people that did that. They hung a sign up on the concession stand down there that I have a picture of that you can see, but they didn't put all that time in to have the field changed. So now, in the last 10 years, the Booster Club works very hard. Our booster concession stand averages taking in $5,000 a year, and then we also spend roughly $7,500 a year on equipment and just to maintain the football program. So I think it's a little frustrating that nobody was approached to say we're going to level out a crown field for a third of the field on one sidelines. The statement on the board meeting, it says they'll go to the 15-yard line. Well, it's all the way to the 40, 45. So now I'm pretty sure a referee is not going to be able to go up and down that sidelines And I've taken pictures after the rains and, standing water. There's waterway runs, tunnels.
It does look much better right now. The grass has come in and it's filled in a lot.
You can see where it comes off the crown and then goes back up. There's no way that's safe.
I also want to point out that when I was walking along, to me, when you have a crowned football field, that means you can't really see the other end when you're on one end because there's a crown. And when you're standing on the by the bus barn and you look over, you can't even see, I couldn't even see the straw because there was a crown. So I couldn't see the straw and where the new grass was coming in from the other side of the football field. So I felt that they had done a really nice job to maintain the crown so that it didn't come up higher than the football field. So it's still arched. I mean, if you want to look at it, there's an arch in the football field. And yes, there's a slope now running from the baseball field down into the rest of the football field, but that's after the crown.
Yeah, and it rained an inch and there's standing water all the way 20 yards onto the field
Right now?
when it rains, yes.
Oh,
I was down there in the middle of that, when we had that inch and a half of rain, and there was water flowing through. In the middle of rain, you're gonna have it.
Well,
But isn't that a co-mingled field?
That's an hour and a half afterwards.
But when was that? What's the date of that?
That's June 10th when the athletic director was asked about it.
So that area was fixed after that. We came in so what's the Saturday? On June 13th, we came in with a pickup load of dirt and filled that in.
Well, there's the rain from the last rain.
That's
And
not,
that's 2 hours after.
that's not a lot of water sitting there. So
Right.
it's okay though, if we came to
There's
you,
tunnels up there.
if we came to you and said, we wanted to drain the baseball field, so we're gonna run a ditch across the middle of the football field, that would be okay.
Okay, I'm just talking about Neil Anderson went out to the public and involved everyone.
For the football club,
This was the whole school.
but it was the football club. You're fixing the football field.
Neil Anderson was the athletic director, not a football coach.
It doesn't matter though.
He went and asked.
It's a joined field,
It
right?
is.
Okay, so when you have that great big 27-inch ditch that goes through the baseball
It
field,
was a 20-inch crown.
no, it was 27-inch because we shot the grades. And there's still a 6-inch crown.
I don't know that, I don't think we should be doing stuff if it's not somebody that's okayed by the school to do it.
So
There was there was no motion, nobody voted. No football person had a say.
This was public meetings discussed during building grounds. The entire, just like you called that back, Chad. You called that back up. That's a public record of a properly openly posted meeting. We complied with open meeting laws. And so we had this on building grounds. And so if there's people that had an opportunity to be concerned with the process, that was the time they should have brought it up. And it wasn't. You're the first person I've heard a dissenting comment about this. Now, after it was done, and that's.
Well, I've shared these photos with every coach in the complete area. And not one of their school boards would have did that.
but have any of them dug a trench through their baseball field?
That was okay, Steve, by a
That
school
doesn't make,
board.
it still doesn't make it right.
By a school board. I wasn't on the board.
It was
I wasn't the athletic director that went out and got $60,000 and got somebody to do it. It
this
was
was
okayed and passed by a school board.
And this was brought up for discussion at the school board. It wasn't said it was not.
You should have called us.
Why? Everybody was called. Everybody is notified legally, Chad. This is no different than a town board or a city council meeting or a county board meeting. This is properly posted. We talked about this at the beginning of this, the verification of meeting notice. This is put out and put it, out on our website for people to see. Where were the people at to discuss this? The reason there wasn't a motion because there wasn't school dollars being put into this. This was volunteer and was donated. And that's why, in my opinion, personally, if there had been a motion, there had been a unanimous motion to approve this by the school board. But I can't say that other than myself, but that is my belief from that meeting. But, you know,
You would have approved to the 15-yard line, right?
well, I proved the
All the
project.
way out to the 44.
I go out and I walk around on it. I can't tell where the,
44?
I don't know why.
Because that's where the outfield fence goes. So it makes absolutely no sense to flatten that out and then have a hole in the field yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Frank.
Okay, Chad, not to get my hornet's nest because I'm not taking sides here.
I
know that.
understand.
But when this was brought to my attention, and me being building ground supervisor and so forth, I called you. And I called Danny, and I told you exactly what was going on.
And if it was okay if the baseball field had some work, and I said, whatever they do on their field is fine.
Well, again, I also told you, this is a sports complex, it's not a football field, it's not a baseball field. And again, you know, not taking sides here,
I know.
but the baseball field's gotta use it too. And Danny mentioned to me, and again, it wasn't my decision by no means, but Danny mentioned to me that they can't get a playoff game because of that dip. Okay, we tried to correct that. You was notified by me, I know, and I guess the way I look at it, if you had a complaint, then you should change the school board and complain then, not after the fact. And I also went and told you that it's not gonna be my decision, it's not gonna be your decision, it's gonna be the school board, and the one that's gonna make it happen is Randy Olson, because he's the expert. So he was gonna do the excavating, he was gonna find out if it could drain and everything, and he said it would, he said it'd be no problem. So again, you know, when you say that you wasn't notified or whatever, you know, I did call you, because, you know, I wasn't gonna go behind your back, so I just want you to know that, you know, you was.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say.
But would you agree that you wouldn't want a 20-inch dip running crossways across your football field for guys to have to run through? Honestly, honestly,
20-inch crown, Steve, the whole way. Now it's not.
but
So I don't know what you're saying. I mean,
But
now
okay,
we got-
no, you do know what I'm saying, Chad. So if we dug crossways, here's your football field.
Yep.
And we dug a trench across the middle of the field like that. That's how that goes across the middle of the outfield. That's how it did. They boys had to run not up it, they had to run across it. Would you be upset if that was dug through the middle of your football field and every play, the kids had to run through that, down through that, and then up the other side? What about your,
So now we have that.
no, you don't. How do you have a
On
20?
that sideline, you can see it.
It's less than what it was.
It's flat and then it drops off.
Less than what it was. So if a guy was running down and turned back in bounds now,
There's no way a referee is gonna go up and down that sideline. It's not safe, Steve.
it wasn't safe the way it was for a baseball player to run through it.
That was not my decision back when they did it.
It doesn't matter if it was your decision, it was still wrong.
That's not my issue.
Okay, that was our
My
issue.
was the 60 people that donated and all the work that got done to make us have a nice field is now gone.
At the expense of a nice baseball field, which you don't care, right? That's
I'm
not
not
your
here to
issue.
talk about baseball.
But it's part of the baseball field though, right?
Sure,
Okay,
but
but it's
I
okay
didn't make
that,
that decision back then.
but we made it now. And
Was
so,
that asked?
huh?
You didn't.
What do you mean we didn't ask?
Yeah.
We did this at a public meeting,
Twice.
twice.
We did it in buildings and grounds first when the
Right,
proposal came
and
to the,
so when you wanna put in a sidewalk, you call Frank and you say, hey, I need a bid.
If
we're
it's
gonna-
school money,
If we're gonna, okay. Well, if we can't play out there, who's gonna fix it?
what do you mean if you can't play?
If
Chad,
it's unsafe, how are we gonna play?
you're telling me the baseball field was safe the way it was? And you're gonna say, I'm not here to talk about the baseball field,
That's right.
because you don't care.
No,
And so we should care more about the football field than the baseball field. That's exactly
I
what you're
think you
saying.
should care more about the people that did that work and was approved.
And
and
this
how
was
we-
approved,
There was no motion.
didn't need a motion.
There was no vote.
I asked for a motion, right? And nobody said, we need a motion, because there was no school money spent. But what this boils down to, Chad, is one sport we should care more about
I
than the
didn't
other.
say that.
But why can't, where the fields are commingled, where they're both joined,
Mhm.
why can't both fields be good?
They can be.
And the one was horrible. And the other one now is just
Now we
more
have-
level.
We still have the worst baseball field because it still comes down, then it goes back up. The concession stand, you can't see out of. I did the scoreboard for a long time. You can't see because you got boards across it and stuff, so you can't see that. The seating is not that great. So I
And
don't know
so what you're saying is we have better concession on the football, we have better seating on the football, and now we tried to correct the baseball field to make it not a dip, and that was wrong.
I don't think you should have filled in the crown for a third of the field on the other sideline for safety reasons.
But would you agree that it was safe enough for the baseball players, is what you're saying?
It must have been. They played for how long?
Well, the dip that's out there now on the football field is not, we shot the grades and there's less slope now.
You
than
had a
what there was.
service come in and shoot that.
We had Kenny Ashton shot it with his, what he does every day with his laser.
Laser level.
Yeah.
How long ago was that football field done? 10 years?
No, it's more than that.
So, natural wear and tear is going to change a field. And it is, like you said, it's commingled. And so, yeah, you're right. They should have fixed both fields because it's the same kids playing on both fields. Just like I will complain and go to bat for the elementary playing on that baseball in the outfield because we're a school. So we're trying to make it best for both. Sorry, Chad, it messed up a little bit on yours. It's still playable. It improved for the baseball players, same boys playing. And 60, you're right, people donated.
People donated to this too. Time, labor, purchased stuff. So if you feel that that we will be unable to play, then give me a name of somebody and I will contact the person to look at it.
I don't think that that's playable.
Of course it's not, it's just been seeded.
I'm
Stay off
talking
it.
about, yeah, we do.
Okay.
We follow the rules.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm looking.
Have,
I mean, that's in the middle of the field.
And Steve said they went and fixed it after the fact.
I was just on there Friday night
Okay.
after it rained.
Chad, if we would go up from where that is filled, go the rest of the way and fill that with dirt, would that make you happy either?
Say that again.
Where they filled that crown on the baseball field. If we would have took dirt from there and went all the way down to make it, fill that ditch line all the way down, would that have made you happy?
I guess I'm not sure why we changed the field. Because now, I've never seen a field where, there's some fields that are flat out there that are very nice. When Neil went out and talked to the UW and whoever about their crowns on their fields, he went with that crown.
No, that's not true. That's because I talked to the guy who put it in and said it was 18 inches as a recommended, and it was more than what was recommended. I got that right from the horse's mouth.
Neil went with whatever he got.
That's
Okay.
not what the guy that put it in told me.
It's not the same crown
Right.
on this side as it,
So-
on that side is it, Chad?
Say that again?
The crown is not the same on that side as it.
It should be.
It should be, but I can guarantee it's not, because when I pick up garbage out there, I walk across, and when I get to that side, I'm like this. And when I'm on this side, I'm not. And again, I'm not taking sides, Jen.
Right, I know.
I mean,
I know you're not, Frank.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, defending what you believe in, but
Well, I'm just saying, when we go to the play at the other schools, there's not a flat spot and then a crown. It's either crowned or it's flat. So, because that's the only way it's safe. Now, if you go from flat and you're running on flat on the sideline now over there, from the end of the end zone to the 40, you're gonna run flat. And then at about the 45, it's about a foot drop off.
No, it is not. It's
You
not.
just said 24 inches, Steve.
that's what it
But
was.
we didn't bring that out, Chad, and drop it. We brought it to that and then we
You can
tapered
see
it.
it.
Huh?
When it runs off, it's going just like that over there. And that's on the field.
there's a taper for probably a good 20, 25 feet where that
Well,
slopes
it's gotta
down.
be more than that, because it's from the 15 to the 45.
It comes out and then it becomes there's a gradual slope and then it becomes more of a slope to get down to
I can show you
the ditch.
where the drop off is, because the water will show you that. That's at least a foot drop off, Steve, and that's. on
That's
the
not a
field.
foot drop off there. It might be over 25 feet. It might be a foot over
I mean,
25
this
feet.
is because now we flattened it, and you got all that hill that's washing down there, and now it goes onto the field instead of down the side.
But what you're missing is we've made the baseball field, which I've never seen any baseball field in the entire world that had a trench through it like that. And you'll admit that.
I agree.
Okay, so why was that
I don't know why they
okay?
did it that way, Steve. I didn't vote on it, okay? So I don't know. I'm just going by what all these people
But what you're
did.
saying is that's okay to leave that on the baseball field as long as it doesn't impact the football.
How many,
I'm worried about
how
the
many
safety
other,
of the players.
how many
You're
other
worried about the
baseball-
safety of the baseball players running through that every practice, every game?
I didn't vote on that, Steve. I didn't put that in, okay?
how many other schools in our conference have a commingled baseball field and football field?
Seneca and Wazeeka,
Okay,
sort of.
sort of.
Well, a little bit of probably half of Wazeeka's outfield is baseball. Or
Football.
half of their outfield is football.
Okay.
And do any of those have crown fields?
Wazeeka's is flat. That's very nice. Seneca's is up on a ridge. If there's a crown, it's small.
It's a natural crown.
Yeah, it'd be natural crown.
So what I'm saying is why did we put a
On
crown
a rock.
on a football field that it took up half the baseball field?
That you'd have to ask them.
So it's not your fault because whoever did it
I
before
didn't
did.
ask to make it somebody's fault. I'm not here to say this is your fault. I'm here because all those people did that work, wanted something nice. The school voted yes. Those people donated all their money, and now all of a sudden, those people don't count.
Well, they count.
Yeah.
Count.
That's like assuming it's totally ruined. The football field is not totally ruined. You even yourself saying, okay, from the 45, if I
Right,
throw
it's
right,
not totally ruined, but it's unsafe.
I guess I walked out there. I
We
gotta
can go
wait
out
to
there
be.
right now, I'd be willing to.
Why I was just out there and I looked at it. I see what you're saying, that there's, but it's just been reseeded and I'm just like,
Right,
Oh.
and now we're a month away from using it.
mhm.
And if it rains several times in that time, there's no way. And
I would
I've
like to
never seen-
know from an official what makes that unsafe.
I would too. I'd like to have that, because I know what every coach in the conference is saying.
Well, I would like to literally know, give me the name of an official who would look at that and say that we can't play on this field because there's a less of a
Well,
dip on this.
I would say let's call an official
Yes,
as to,
You don't have to have me do it.
Yeah.
okay.
But
but, so the same thing can be said. I've seen two,
Bill Vogt,
Well, Dave Bergam.
Dave Skarnowski, Dave Bergen would look at it for sure.
Okay,
and
I
I've
will
seen
call him, I promise.
I've seen regional baseball umpires stand out there at that trench and look at it, look back and forth, and back and forth. Like, what is this? And that wasn't safe to have kids running from our school or from other schools running through. So we're agreeing that's not safe, but you're saying it was not safe, but we shouldn't fix that.
What I'm saying is, if it was so unsafe, maybe they should move the field somewhere else.
Why can't you move the football field someplace else?
Well,
We have
Why
to
do-
keep in
why does
mind
one-
it's the same
you're right,
kids.
we probably will be. We'll probably have to play at some other schools.
So the baseball field that we had, we didn't move. We have a harder time getting regional games because coaches vote on it. We have a harder time getting non-conference games and people come to our tournament because once they come and play, they don't want to run through that again. But that's okay.
I didn't say that's okay.
Let's keep, we're gonna push this along, but I'd like to have us reach out. I'd like to get an opinion of a referee, to a third
Yep.
party to look this over.
I will do that.
I know that the administrator at Highland has seen it
Okay,
too. He'd definitely give you an opinion.
Josh Terrell?
Yep. He'd probably be glad to.
Okay.
So is it okay to get some opinions from some baseball coaches in the conference of what it was before?
I know what their opinions are. So I don't know why if we have one bad, why did we make two bad?
In my opinion, we didn't make the football field bad. I think that we decreased the level of the dip on the one side.
If there's drainage challenges, we will address it in the future as we see it, as we have out here in the playground, and other areas here, as you know, Frankie, we talked about with the cement, that if we have to get water out to keep it from icing up, it's for safety purposes.
And in
for
all
function.
fairness, Chad, the two rainstorms we had were big ones. You know, so to say, when I came home last Friday from Madison, I swear to God, there was water that deep on Highway 14. I mean, there was cars pulled over. I bet 3/4 of the car was pulled over. My wife said, "Did you pull over?" I go, "Hell no." I said, "Everybody else pulled over, so I had free wheel." But anyway, there was that much water on Highway 14. So, you know, that was a pretty hard rainstorm. So if you're, you know, basing it on that, you know, we'll just have to see what happens. But again, we had the expert, which would be Randy Olson, which I think you have a lot of confidence in. And he did make it where it was slow and drained. So, you know, that's all I'm saying. I guess time will tell if it will or not.
We'll have a third party look at it, and we'll have discussions on it, and
Because right now you're 53 days away from the game.
Just changed my name to Mrs. Party.
That's party.
Mrs. Brody, we'll call.
anything else on that? We'll address it. Certainly on the next building and grounds, we'll have a third party in.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Item 5.6, discuss which buses to expunge.
All right, so we have two new buses. So bus number 1 is in, and this is from summer 2019. Andy didn't do anything before, you know. So it has 46,000 miles. Bus 5 has 116,000 miles and it's marked as fair. That's the Bluebird. Bus 6 has 12,000 miles and it's good. Bus 7 has 76,000 miles and it's good. Bus 11 has 109,000 and it's fair. Bus 12 has 124,000 and it's fair. Bus 15 has 90,000 and it's good / fair. 17 has 148,000 and it's fair. And bus 21, sorry, oh yeah, that's our spare bus, 127,000 and it's fair. So
Is there a recommendation?
yeah, the one,
To cull the herd.
yeah, 11, right?
Yeah,
11 and
Do we want to get rid of both of them?
well, we need, the guy told Olin, it needs to go to L&M. Well, and here's the crazy part about that. Because I was on the bus, we were busing the wrestlers up to Weston. And 2 times that bus failed up there. I happened to be there the one time and I had to call my nephew to come and get it started. We need to just get rid of that bus.
I'm pretty sure that's 11.
I'm
11?
not sure.
Who's the regular driver of it?
Well, that's the spare.
It's the spare.
That's the one that
okay.
sits way, I think it's international, isn't it?
This says bus 21 is the spare bus, bought used in 2018 from Lentz for the purpose of updating the spare buses in our fleet. Shows signs of its age. It has rust and the paint is very faded.
Okay, it's not that.
Good spare for now. Spare bus 17, that might be the one. Rust and good spare bus for now. Spare bus and used for extra, the Max Force engines international used during these years are prone to problems, can be costly to fix.
Well, it was rusted out underneath so bad that, you know, some of the main support, pretty soon the shocks are gonna come through the floor. That's
But you don't know
pretty
which one that is.
much. I think it's one that sits way in the end. I don't know what number.
I swear it was bus 11. Owen actually had him paint the number on the new bus. He was so sure we were gonna get rid of that number. So it's either 11 or 17.
Yeah, well, there's a new bus 17, I know that.
So,
Well, that's kind of his call. He knows. the
Yeah,
buses.
that's
He
what
tells
mine-
which one to
so
get
that's the
rid of.
one, and I'm sorry, I didn't think to ask him before we had this, but we wanted you guys to have input on which ones to get rid of or what to do with them, so.
That's pretty good input.
I-
Just do the one.
That one, if we can identify that one, for certainly get rid of that one.
Well,
Okay.
the two that Andy bought as used, they're faded so bad, they're gonna be yanking them off the road. I
Yeah.
don't care if it is a spare,
Yeah.
they're faded so bad.
We've had that discussion and they wondered if they could get a student or somebody there to buff it, and if that would somehow darken the color, make it legal.
Make it brighter.
Isn't that what magic markers are for?
There you go.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with that, just fade, that sun-baked paint,
Mhm.
you know, if you buff them, they'll come back with, you know,
I know,
presentable.
I want to see, I'd like to see it, it'd be one of those things I'd be curious to see, because if it does work, then we probably should, because likely, as stated, the state patrol or whatever will yank it, those inspectors will yank it off the road.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll make the decision for us. That's the sad part is, you know, if they saw something like what you're talking about inspecting that, I doubt that they'd,
Yeah, we might be in bigger
but I'd say ask
trouble.
Owen, get Owen's
Yeah. exactly.
input. We just, we'll look to expunge one right now.
I believe so. I think what we're looking to do is, and then what do we want to do with them? So the one is obviously just going for scrap, or we could try and sell it. Somebody might give us $500 for it, as is, you know.
Probably looking at $3,000 or less in any of them, right?
Yeah,
One, what are you using for it? You know what I mean? Not like a truck.
I don't know, we got a lot for that burgundy van at one time.
Yeah.
When you,
don't knock it. Put it on there and see what they bid.
You can always go fishing and see what people would catch. We already know, because right now I know scrap prices are down. But,
They're terrible.
so
Horrible. My husband took a whole load and he got like $11. I'm like,
Oh.
what? It was horrible. He had to pay more for the other junk for them to haul it away. Okay, and I do have the list, and I apologize, I should have,
that's right.
I just don't, every time they talk about bus numbers, they kind of all,
Yeah, they all run together with me too.
But if one wants to look them over, kind of give a final tally or recommendation of bad to worst or worst to best or whatever, at least the bottom three.
Okay.
So we have, just make sure those are updated, the notes on it are updated, but have it pick
What do
the,
we have for bus numbers? What, is there 6, 7?
there's 1, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 15, 17, 21.
And then 2 new ones.
And
that
the
was
2
on
new
bus
ones.
number 13, guess they weren't superstitious back then. Evelyn
Oh,
Romanowski.
they're pretty nice buses. I would say, yeah. That was a good find.
So,
Yeah, I see we'll certainly look to expunge one and at whatever Owen's discretion.
you want me to put it on the board agenda?
Yeah, why don't we,
Let's
yeah, we should have it for discussion.
Let's get them out of here.
And I promise I'll have more documentation.
Anything else on that? Item 5.7, new office area for HR.
So we were thinking, I know that's kind of dangerous sometimes, but when you truly have an HR person and now we're gonna hire the new person, Brooke really needs a place to work that she can close a door and talk, you know, when you're gonna talk money and discipline and all that kind of stuff, you have to be able to do that. So we were considering right after the, so in the back room, between the two offices, that back room where the sink is, putting a wall there. And then she would take the sink out, that area out, and make it an office for her. Her only then entrance would be the door that's currently between the two offices. Her husband has volunteered to do all the labor. She's got a brother-in-law or somebody that does plans and stuff like that. So I said, well, if you guys are like, no, we're never doing that, then I wouldn't bring it up. But if we could at least plan something, so that way she would have an enclosed office it would, then the other person could have her area. And then she's also sharing that office with the special ed person that helps me out a little bit. So it's already being used by 2 people, so it's really hard to talk HR things.
So I'm just an idiot. Everybody knows that. What is HR,
Human resources.
right?
And so they talk about lots of discipline things. She's going to take care of all the hiring and all the things that go with that. So talking about what they can offer them for salaries, what they're going to get for benefits, and sometimes they bargain a little bit. Well, if I get hired, can I have some vacation days or that kind of a thing?
What are you gonna be doing then?
Oh, I'm just going to be sitting back and relaxing. What am I going to be doing?
Well, I just didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know what.
There's
isn't Summer an HR person for?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Lambda Lakes.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't know.
Well, and there's a lot of
Definition of
HR stuff that we should be doing that we're not. So for an example, annually, we need to put out notices. And sometimes we remember and sometimes we don't remember. It's, if we were to ever be audited in HR, I don't know if there isn't even such a thing, but it's just the idea that, for example, every year we should be asking the staff if they have been offered all of the programs that we have here every year. We should be reminding them that we have AFLEC and they can take that, or they can flex, they can take that. So there's some things that are built in, like flex makes you sign annually, but other things don't.
Like insurance stuff,
Yeah.
or if you have FMLA or any of that kind of jobby stuff. Cheryl Richards has been doing it for years, but it's really not in her job either because her job is
Yeah,
bigger.
Cheryl's got a pretty good load anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you, Jill. I'm not.
No,
I'm just.
no. I get it.
I just didn't know.
We've discussed, and that's why we're like, okay, but now she's the HR person, and when we get the new person hired, she's not going to be answering the phone and all that kind of stuff. Of course, we're all going to be intermingling. Nobody's.
Where's the new person going to be
I guess
in
you
their
would.
place?
Like HR.
If we can, we're going to put her where Brooke is right
I'm
now.
allowed to, yes.
And then the only thing is we would lose access from the front office to the other office.
Where would the printer go? And the safe?
Printer would be, the safe we would probably.
That's got a lot of money in it. I mean, that's the student account safe.
There's not actual money, that's all put in bank accounts.
I know, but it's, well, so where would it be held though? So when we
have a
collect
safe,
money,
we have 2 safes. There's one in the district office closet
Right.
and there's one in that big, huge
Yeah.
6x4x4,
Mhm.
which is antique. We'd like to get rid of that one and just use the district office safe. There's no problem sharing a safe. We can each have our own shelf. There's room. The only time we need lots of cash boxes and stuff, they lock it up in the closet. So we need a better system for that
you
anyway.
just put that on open record. You have to find a different one.
Well, I don't know. And like I said, if you guys are like, no, or if you want to look at it,
You're gonna have to carve it out because there is no space, because we can't even find you a suitable location really.
Okay.
I mean, you're fine, but there's always discussion on, we know that space is at a premium.
Yep.
And it's,
So would that take away though that closet? Because
it
the-
might.
Yeah.
Well, no, the closet has to stay there because there's stuff in it.
It's electrical.
Yeah,
So
there's
she's gonna
electrical
get a
stuff in it.
sliver. Honestly, it's gonna be like a 7-foot by 12-foot space.
With a door. Mhm.
that's fine. I mean, in all honesty,
There's no problem with the air exchanger and all that. That's all would all be
Mhm.
everything.
And like I said, if you guys are not like, no, there's no way, we're pretty sure we can kind of do it with, $1,200 to $1,500 in construction materials, parts and labor.
Time and material.
Her and her family kind of want to do the labor themselves. It's just one of those things that if they know how to do it, and if they drew it up and we got costing and all that kind of stuff. But if you guys are like, no, we don't really know where to put that other person. We probably move Brooke around anyway, and we'd probably have the other person kind of sharing that back area anyway.
I like to look at the space, see what it looks like and try to envision it. And then how soon of a time frame are you looking to have this approved?
when we get there, we know that there's, I mean, right now she's gonna have to sit like next to Brooke and learn everything that Brooke just learned, and then she'll have to sit next to the,
I'd say
We
next to the
hired
next,
a person, or we need to hire a person?
they're gonna be interviewing.
yeah, we're interviewing next week, Monday and Tuesday.
Are they getting board members to sit down on the interviews?
Yep, Susan,
good.
Susan loves to be.
Okay, yeah, Susan does. That's
Yep.
good.
She loves doing that.
I'd say we bring this back in the next building and grounds, but let's take a look at the space right now. And if they can give us a cost estimate of what it would take
Okay.
to do that.
Yep.
And if they're willing to volunteer, I mean, electrical and things like that, I mean, she's gonna, I don't know, I guess maybe the electrical's there, all she's talking about is 2 walls or 3 walls or whatever is there, so that's what we need to
One
look at.
wall.
One
I
wall?
mean, really.
Yeah, building one wall. Yeah, when we go back there, it'll
Yeah,
make a
we'll
lot
look
more
at it.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Taking out cupboards.
Let's do that. Anything else on that? Item 5.8, other matters of grounds and buildings.
So my only thing was I talked to Mike, we're looking at space to use. Using the cost on my thing, wherever I put it. Putting sun sail shades over the patio would cost about $1,000.
That's not on there.
No. No, it's not on there. I added it, because it says other matters. But using the costing of, that's on this, the amphitheater, the poles and sunshades, that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
Anyway. I just told him I'd mention it.
The installation would be just
Mike would do
throw
the
Mike
installation
under the
again.
bus, so to speak.
Mike in the auger.
Number
Mike in the
17
bus?
here. Yeah, under number 17.
You say, Kathleen, that those are poles to be removed and so forth?
Nope, they'd be installed,
So it would be permanently on the patio?
not on the patio, beside it, in the dirt. So they'd use the pole that's on this side, the volleyball pole, and then 5 more with 6 shades. He asked about connecting to the building, but I'm like, probably not. Like, put a anchor.
Will that affect us cleaning the patio?
No, it'll be above and it'll be on.
The sunshades wouldn't be up all winter. They would be
No,
taken down.
right,
That's what I'm asking.
yeah,
Yes.
they'd be,
And the poles would not be on the concrete. They would be next to the concrete.
right.
And where would they be stored at?
Now, the poles stay.
Just take it right there.
And the sunshades are just
They go in
pieces of
there.
cloth. They fold all up. They fit into a big box.
Those poles gonna be in the way of snow removal or anything, Frank,
Well, see,
theoretically?
that's what I'm kind of worried about. If it's, because I mean, we try to use the brush and stuff, we throw stuff out of the way. If the poles are off it, it shouldn't be an issue.
No, they're sunk 6 feet. Just like the
They're off to the side of the
volleyball
patio.
court
Yeah.
is, yeah.
It should not be an issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then they put the sun sail shades, whatever, in that thing back there.
So are you wanting to ask or just discussing it?
I'm just sharing it. If it's,
If that's if we start looking at, how quickly can we do that? Do you have an idea? That'd be almost a question for Mr. Monty, but to acquire it, as we get closer to the beginning of the school year, if this becomes something that we start leaning towards that we're gonna be needing for outdoor.
use, he probably could. Mike, are you there?
I'm here.
How
If
long
you
would it
had-
take?
They don't take long. The long part is setting in the posts. That's the hardest part. Once the posts are in, the rest of it goes pretty quick.
Do you cement those in, Mike?
Yeah, you could put cement around them. You could fill around it with gravel. Since it's protected there behind the school, there wouldn't be a whole lot of wind that you would need to worry about.
about
And then obviously
heaving?
you take them down in the winter time so there's no snow loads. So
What about heaving?
Get down 6 foot.
Yeah, you're down a little cross line. I don't think it's gonna be pushing them out.
yeah,
That's
no, you should be
It's pretty
fine.
good drainage there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sand over here.
Yeah.
How long would it take you? A weekend?
If
Couple
it was
days?
just me, it'd probably take a couple days. Like I said, the hard part is digging the holes, and getting back there with the skid steer might be a little tricky in some spots. So,
Mhm.
but I don't think it would be that. It's not that big of a project, and it's something that could be kind of done over time. You could do one and then add another one. So we already got one pole in, so that's good.
That's right. We got
Okay,
kid labor.
thank you. So we're just discussing that right now, but keep us posted. If you, as things evolve between now and the beginning of the school year, if this really seems to be a hotter priority, bring well. We've had a discussion here. If it needs to go before board, and it could be put on the board agenda.
I just put it on the board when we talk on the other.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good idea.
Discuss at the same time.
Knock it out.
You want it separate from the, I know I typed it in here, Mind Great Destiny, softball, policy, amphitheater. So I'll put it as a separate one so that you could potentially do.
Mike,
Yeah,
when you rent the auger, is it by the day?
yeah, it's usually by the day.
Do you guys know anybody that has an auger that would fit on the skid steer?
We have one that goes in the back of the tractor, but I don't know if we can get 6 feet.
Well, he
Yeah.
said, explain what you told me, Mike.
Well, with the one at the skid steer, when we did the upper playground, we had a couple holes. We rented it for a day, and it gets down to about probably 5, and then you just kind of clean out the bottom with the clamshell.
How big a round hole?
I think
6
it
by
was. I think the bit was 12-inch wide.
It's a 6x6 post.
Yeah.
It's a
So
big-
however much you want to.
We've got a 12-inch, but it's only about 3 feet. We've
Yeah.
got
We have two.
8-inch,
I guess
that's
put gravel around
about
or something.
probably 5 feet.
Yeah. The main issue is going to be getting it to the location to do the digging. I'm not above using a clamshell digger. I've done most of the holes that way anyways, so.
Caleb bought Mitch Rico's.
I was just gonna say, what about renting from Mitch? Maybe you could do.
Mitch
a-
has one. Mitch just got a new
multi-day.
one for the skid steer. I think Caleb's, the one that Caleb Wilson bought is a 3-point.
That's
On the
what
back
I
of the
was
track, yeah.
probably similar.
Well, if somebody can contact Mitch, that would be handy.
Mitch or.
Mitch has one. I know it's brand new for the skid steer. Or maybe Caleb, I can't remember. It's also a post hole driver too, but I think, we'll see.
I don't-
We just got,
Can't do a post hole.
no, it's not it, but Mitch has got that too. He's been driving them in for his fencing business.
His number?
No, I got Cammy and these.
We could drive a 14-foot.
I actually do have his number since he
16.
came and checked out.
Really?
He's gonna do some fencing for me.
Okay, anything else on that? Thank you, Mr. Monty.
Yep.
Anything else for other matters, Ms. Shane?
No, that was.
Okay. Item 5.9, set next meeting, August 5th.
It's already on.
It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
6:30,
Mhm.
Yep.
That's what I have.
that's what I got. Good there? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Randy, second by Steve, we stand adjourned.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.